Today's Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz has an SUV for you, whether it's the stylish GLC, compact GLA, three-row GLS, or the GLE and GLC plug-in hybrids. Visit MBUSA.com for special offers. Oh, look who's back with us. He's the lame duck. He would be like the Mike McCarthy of NBA analyst here in the final year. Charles Barkley joining us on the program. You feel like a lame duck?
Yes. Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
If I was Kenny Smith, do I get a Mercedes?
No, you don't. No.
Okay. Yeah, we feel like a lame duck. I mean,
wait. What kind of cars do you have? Do you have anything that would be like exotic?
No, dude. I got money for a reason. I'm not stupid. Dude, you can't have money if you waste money on stupid stuff.
Wait,
I got a Kia. My main car is a Kia, and I got a Ford Expedition. So that's it.
Well, doesn't Shaq have a bunch of fancy cars?
I got like $500 million.
Well, if you would stop gambling, you might have that money that Shaq has.
There's no chance of that happening. Dude, I like to gamble. What's wrong with it? You know what's really funny about the gambling thing? My mom was a maid and my grandmother worked in a butcher factory, and we grew up on welfare in the projects. Nobody cared about my money. Nobody ever said, "Hey, let's go take care of that Barkley family. Let's do a GoFundMe for them." Now that I got money and I like to gamble, everybody's like, "Man, he gambles too much." Let me just say this so people don't get the wrong idea, Dan. If you don't kiss my ass, I'm gonna gamble. I like to do it. I'm in form right now, Dan, because my whole weekend is all about gambling on Saturday and Sunday. The whole weekend, brother.
Okay, I'm happy that you're happy gambling. I would like for you to win a little more. So,
yeah, I would like the teams to play better. That's what the damn problem is. It's not my bad selection.
It's them.
It's them. It is them.
Okay, I'm going to start with a serious topic here. What is worse for the NBA? A bigger problem, load management or too many three-pointers?
Dan, that's a great question because I think they're both problems. It's just now it's a three-point shooting contest. But what's going to be the biggest problem going forward when we have guys making 80, 90, $100 million not playing back-to-back games? That's, to me, I mean, listen, the three-point thing bothers me because, of course, if they're going in, you're going to win, but you got to have a plan B. But when that new TV deal kicks in next year and you got a guy making $85 million and he says, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to play back-to-back games." It's ridiculous to think fans are going to pay as much as it costs to go to games now. And now you're going to have to go out and start doing streaming going forward. We can't have a guy making $95 million saying, "I can't play basketball 4 days a week." And actually, in fairness, most teams play 3 games a week, but let's say hypothetically you play 4 games. You can't ask fans to pay that money for a guy making $95 million won't play back-to-back games. If anybody think that's a good idea, they're crazy.
Okay, but how do you fix load management?
You play basketball, man. We're the luckiest dudes in the world. See, this is the thing that bothers me about the entire 76er thing. Like, number one, you don't tell people you're not going to play back-to-back games. That's just where the stupidity started. But also, Dan, if you're tired or a little sore, which every basketball player is during the season, hey, you know what, coach? I'm going to play 25 minutes tonight. I'm not going to play 42. That, to me, is my biggest problem with load management. Just play 25 to 27 minutes. Like, when you're a star, you're going to play basically between 35 and 45 minutes most nights. But if you're going to play back-to-back or you want to load management, just tell the coach, "Hey, coach, I'm going to give you 25 tonight. Maybe we can push it 27, 30. But because Adam Silver, who's amazing, he killed most of the back-to-backs anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think the load management, you can't ask people out here who go out here and get their hard-earned money on like real jobs. They say, I'm coming to see this great player play. And he, like I say, he's making 80, 100 to $100 million. Well, he sit it out because he was tired.
What if
That's
you
not sustainable.
what if you just got paid for the number of games you played?
Dude, them dudes will be playing 85 games, not 82. No, dude, Dan, we don't have like a real job. We're playing basketball.
But do I have to incentivize these guys making this much money that if you play this many games, you get, like, there's a bonus? And you have to do something here. I mean, I think we got a real problem with too many threes. The game is not great. And I just think, when you got guys who they think nothing of sitting down, of sitting out.
Dan, when you say that or I say that, we're the old get off my lawn guys. And I don't care if they say that because, man, we're playing basketball. We're not a nurse. I'm pretty sure nurses don't want to go in sometime. Guys who work in the steel mills, who work in construction, I'm pretty sure they don't want to go in. But man, I've always told people the most important thing should be the game. And it's really getting to the point where it's embarrassing that we actually ever having this conversation. Because if you go back and look at basketball, the greatest players ever, number one, they had to go to college for 3 and 4 years. But they played the whole games. They played in crappy shoes. They flew commercial. Injuries now that you're back in 6 months or a year, ended your career. We got the best medical stuff. We got guys sleeping in hyperbaric chambers. We got guys doing cold water plunges. This is, from a physical standpoint, this is probably the greatest time to play sports. Can you imagine as a football player, and I'm going to be serious for a second here, this is probably the greatest time to ever play football because, number one, the money you make, but also if you get a sniff of a concussion, you're not going to play. You go back and look in our day, they're putting that smelling stuff under your nose, like, get back out there, get back out there. Now, if you got a concussion, you're probably not going to play. And that's great. But this is the best time ever to play sports, number one, financially, but from a health standpoint and a medical standpoint, this is the greatest time ever.
Well, the NBA is nowhere as physical as it was back when you played. So you can factor that in of you don't have back-to-back games. It's not as physical. These guys should be in better shape. There's the money that's attached to this. Like, there's no LeBron shouldn't be the guy who says, I want to play every game this season. But he is saying that he wants to play.
But LeBron, he's amazing. But Dan, you just laid it out right there. You said these guys should want to play basketball, but for the financial and all the stuff, that's the part that hurts me as an older player. I'm like, man, the most money I ever made, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed for $5 million. Let me tell you something. For $75, $80 million a year, I get to the game early. I'm like, hey, we were talking about Zion last year getting in shape. I said, yo, man, for $70, $80 million, you know what they be saying? I'm worried about that Charles Barkley. He's out here anemic. He's got an eating disorder. He's too skinny. I mean, and I mean that sincerely. I got in shape for $2 million. My first contract was 4 years, $2 million. I lost 50 pounds because I was fat in college. Dan, I would be totally anorexic for $75, $80 million. And I know that's a serious subject, but for the kind of money these guys are making today, God bless them. God bless them. I'm not a hater, dude. But to go play basketball for the money we're making today, then worst case scenario, think about this. Worst case scenario, you would never play more than 4 games in a week. Think about that. We don't fly commercial anymore. Like I said, you got the best shoes, you got the best medical stuff. It's an embarrassment that we have to beg these players. It's embarrassing as an older player that we have to beg these guys to play basketball. I mean that sincerely.
Charles Barkley, Turner Sports Inside the NBA analyst. Do you have a statue?
Yes, I got one at Auburn. I got one at the Philadelphia 76ers facility. They put miniatures up. Yeah, I got one with at Auburn. It's really an honor. You know what's really funny? When I met with those people the first time, it was a really awful looking statue. Before they got the finished product, I said, "Yo, man, what are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I got like 4 or 5 pictures of you, and I'm trying to merge them together." I said, "Yo, man, stop it. Pick one picture, and we're good." It's an honor for the statue, but yeah, man, that Dwayne Wade thing, that's awful, man.
I felt bad for Dwayne because he had to act like he liked it.
He did have to act like he liked it. But I think I saw some show they were talking about the looks on his kid's face looking at him because they're like, but were you between a rock and a hard place? Because he can't do anything.
I don't know where you guys stand. I didn't see you guys talking about the Bronny, LeBron stuff. Like people got sideways on the coverage of this, and it's the worst thing for the NBA, and nepotism and whatever it is. And I'll give you my take, and whether you agree with it or not, we can discuss. But I said, if it keeps LeBron engaged, if he wants to continue to play, he wants to play at a high level, he wants to play with his son, who's going to be the 12th man at best on the bench, or probably go to the G League. You go to Cleveland, you get to go back to his hometown, you bring your son with you, great memories there. He gets a hoop, now he goes down to the G League. He's the 55th pick in the draft. Nobody ever talks about the 55th pick in the draft. So, with that being said, where do you stand with Bronny and LeBron?
Yeah, you got a lot of great points. I think the main thing is him getting to play with his son is a cool thing for one thing. But I think he needs to go to the G League so he can get better as a basketball player. Yeah. He's not going to get better sitting on the bench. It was a great story to start the season, having Griffith Jr. and Sr. there, going back to Cleveland, getting his first NBA basket. But, he's not going to get better as a player sitting on the bench. He needs to play basketball. Because you think about it, Dan, you got to factor in, number one, I'm glad he's healthy, but he hasn't played any basketball really in a year or more. I mean, he hasn't played any basketball. Because of the heart thing, and like I said, I'm so glad he's healthy, but he needs to play basketball because he's got to figure out, because he doesn't have a position. He's a tweener, but he's going to have to learn, like I say, the only way you get better at playing any sport is playing that sport. I mean, so I think it's a great story. It's great for LeBron, but he needs to go to the G League and learn how to play, get better as a basketball player.
One of my pet peeves is the Defensive Player of the Year award, because to me, Victor Wembanyama affected more shots than anybody did last year. He can guard the perimeter. He can guard inside at the same time. And I know I'm not big on Rudy Gobert, but the award bothers me because I don't know. It feels like Michael Jordan could have been Defensive Player of the Year every year if he wanted to be. He would lock somebody down, right?
Yeah, but since you're talking about pet peeves, I got one.
Okay.
These idiots on ESPN every year.
Why do you keep watching? I keep telling you, if you don't watch. That's your homework?
I got to see what happened.
Well, Skip Bayless isn't around anymore, so you don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for the guy. I didn't like the guy, but I feel bad. Because I do. I don't want bad things to happen to other people. But it's funny you said it because I'm watching all these idiots and fools and jackasses on ESPN, and it bothers me every year because they use this analogy because it gets back to the NBA. They're like, "Well, LeBron was the best player." Yes, he was, but Derrick Rose was better that year. Well, Karl Malone won MVP. He was better than Michael Jordan that year. They have these arguments every year about the MVP. And now they got a really cool one coming up in the NFL, which has always been my argument. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world. But if you don't think Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry are the MVPs, Josh Allen, if you don't think one of those, I love Josh Allen. He's probably one of my favorite players. If you don't think one of those four players is the MVP, you don't know anything about sports. I get so annoyed when these guys like, well, LeBron should have won it. Like, no, he don't. It goes to the guy having the best season. It's not the guy who's the best player. We all know Patrick is the man. But Josh, Lamar, Derrick Henry, Jared Goff, those four guys, and let me tell you something, I'm glad I don't have a vote, because you talk about putting names in a hat and just pulling one, because any one of those four guys, like I say, but it annoys me when these fools on these other networks talk about, well, this guy, he's the best player. It's not who's the best player. It's the guy who's having the best season. And those four guys are having a better season than Patrick.
Yeah.
And Patrick he's the best quarterback. He might go down as the best ever. But for this year, those four guys, and let me tell you something, I don't know who I would pick between Derrick Henry and Lamar either. That's a tough one. But Jared Goff, man, it's some. I don't understand why that guy gets no respect. He gets zero respect.
Yeah, I know.
He led a team to the Super Bowl. They're like, you're not good enough. Then that team brings in Stafford and they win the Super Bowl and they just crap on him even more. He just keeps his head down in Detroit, get him to the NFC Championship game. They should have won that game. Now he's got him with probably the best team. I hate that Hutchinson kid. Yeah. That Hutchinson kid was one of my favorite players. Shout out to Aiden Hutchinson, man. That kid, man, his motor, it was ridiculous. I hate he broke his leg. But, man, Jared Goff, nobody ever give that kid any credit. I'm proud of him for handling it.
Do you think that you had a better year than Jordan when you won the MVP?
Yes. Hell yes. We had the best record. We had the best record in the NBA that year.
Yeah.
Yes. And was he a better player than me? Yes, he was. But that year, the Phoenix Suns had the best record in the NBA. And so, like I say, and listen, Derrick Rose, shout out to Derrick Rose, great career, man, great dude. But the year he won MVP, the Chicago Bulls, they had the home court against the Cavaliers, that people forget. But it's the guy having the best season. It's not the best player. And them clowns and fools on other networks, when I said fools and clowns, I mean ESPN and Fox. They're like, well, it should go to the best player. I'm like, well, okay, that's your opinion. That don't make you right.
I can tell you this now. I didn't vote for you for MVP that year.
Did you vote me second?
Yeah.
I can live with that. See, I should have won the MVP in '88.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson, we had the closest vote in the history of the NBA. So I had a great year in Philly. I think that's one of the years I averaged like 28 points and I led the NBA in rebounding. And I knew I had a great year and I knew it was going to come down to the wire. But what really bothered me, and that's why we should have some of these fools accountable, because I think I beat him in first place votes, and then I didn't get any other votes. And I was like, well, wait a minute. How can I get, you got to put me first or second, worst case scenario third.
Wow.
And at the time, it was the closest vote in NBA history. And I was so mad. I says, hey, I don't mind losing the award, but y'all just like I say, I'm at least second, worst case scenario third.
Dang.
And I was really pissed.
Sounds like you're still really pissed.
Dan, our job on television is to be fair and honest. One of the reasons fans might disagree with me, but no fan has ever said to me, hey, you know what? You took personal shots at a guy or you have a personal vendetta against a guy. No fan, no player. Every player who calls me when I criticize him, I say, yo, let me explain why I said that.
Yeah.
Because players and agents call me all the time. And I'll be honest with them. I said, dude, but you know what I hate about the players and the agents, Dan? They never call me when I say something good about their player. It pisses me off. It really pisses me off.
It's great to talk to you. I'm glad you're in mid-season form. And
hey, can I put you? Hey, when I'm looking for another job, can I put you on my LinkedIn thing?
Yes.
As a reference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'll help you.
I'm trying to get my famous friends to all in case I have to use them as a LinkedIn reference.
So you haven't heard from them, so that's why you're asking me. All right. I'm going to be there for you. I'll help you with your resume. He's the great Charles Barkley. Thank you, Charles. We'll be back after this.